So the PlayStation 5 has now been out for 4 years, and you may be wondering, what games are there to play on the PlayStation 5? Let me tell you, I got 7 of them! 7 PlayStation 5 games that you need to add to your collection. Hello and welcome to the Retro Roadie channel, where we talk about video games, video game news, game pickups, and everything else in between. And if that seems like something you're interested, hit the subscribe button down below so you never miss out on another video. And we're gonna go in no particular order, starting at number 7, it is Cyberpunk 2077. Despite Cyberpunk having a rough launch when it came out for the PS4, CD Projekt Red have really put in a lot of effort and time to make this game great. They've added tons of updates to make the game run very smoothly on the PlayStation 5. They've also added tons of DLC, which is so much fun. If you haven't played the Phantom Liberty expansion, I highly recommend it. But also, that update makes the game play totally different, so if you've already played it once back before the update, you gotta play it again because it is almost a different game. But the world that CD Projekt Red has built in Cyberpunk 2077 is absolutely astonishing. It may just be me, but I love the way Cyberpunk looks. Whether it's through the neon signs, the kind of dark and dreary outlook on life, but also that mixture of man and machine. To me, that is just a really cool aesthetic that CD Projekt Red brings to Cyberpunk 2077. Now, the game doesn't only just look cool, but it is so much fun to play. The game mechanics are a heck of a fun time, and you can get lost in that world for hours. So if you have a PS5, make sure you pick up Cyberpunk 2077. So next on our list, it's Uncharted: The Legacy of Thieves collection. So this collection has both Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy on it, and both games are fantastic. Uncharted 4 is a great way to end Nathan Drake's story in a grandiose fashion. However, it makes you wonder, how come we haven't heard about his brother until now? But oh well, I digress. It is still a fantastic fun time and makes you feel like real-life Indiana Jones. Now, The Lost Legacy, which was supposed to be a DLC for the Uncharted 4 game, became its own game, and it may, yes, be shorter, but even though it's shorter, it does not overstay its welcome. It builds off of what you got from Uncharted 4 and then some. And it has its nice own little contained story in it. Just like all of Naughty Dog's games, Uncharted: The Legacy of Thieves collection looks beautiful. Naughty Dog does a fantastic job of making sure it gets the most out of the hardware that it has. Those two games look phenomenal on current gen consoles. But if you're up for a fun time, get Uncharted: The Legacy of Thieves collection. Next on our list is a little bit different from this previous one, but it's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So this game was one of the games that came out at the beginning of the PlayStation 5's life cycle, and it was supposed to show off the power of the PlayStation 5 with no loads, but also seamlessly transitioning to different spaces all at once without having a loading screen. The PlayStation 5 having that SSD could move at a faster pace where it didn't need to have a loading screen when you go through rifts. Now this game looks like a Pixar movie brought to life, which is fantastic. And then they add a brand new character, Rivet, which is almost Ratchet's female counterpart. Like, she's not a stereotypical, just like, oh, she's the female version. She has her own backstory, which is very compelling. Even though this game is kind of a platformer, but also a collectathon, it doesn't feel that way. They do make a really good story, and the levels flow very well within each other. So if you want a short but fun, Pixar-like time, get Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for the PlayStation 5. Coming in at number 4, I'm kind of cheating again because this game technically came out on the PS4, but once it got its PlayStation 5 enhancement, it sent it over the edge. And that is Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. What else can you say about a game that has transcended cultures? And by that, I mean Japan literally made the developers of Sucker Punch game basically ambassadors to their country. Japan praised this game for how historically accurate and how well this game portrayed Japanese culture in feudal Japan during the samurai times. This game may not be a graphical powerhouse, but it still looks phenomenal. The art style that they decided to use makes the game pop off the screen whether it's through the colors, the UI design. Many factors go into making this game look beautiful, and it's not just because it's graphically impressive. Ghost of Tsushima also has one of the most heartbreaking stories that has been in the past 5 years. And the ways that Jin Sakai has to struggle between, do I follow the honorable path of the samurai that my family tradition has laid upon me, or do I go against the grain and become the ghost? And this game does a great job portraying that struggle within Jin Sakai, and it displays that pain that he's going through. And by the time you get to the end, you're left with such an emotional ending that it hits you right in the gut. But another reason why to get the PS5 version, the director's cut, is the DLC that it adds on to it. You get the Iki Island expansion, but then you also get the Legends Online multiplayer, and surprisingly or not, the Legends Online multiplayer is highly underrated. It is so much fun. It kind of gives me that Last of Us multiplayer vibes, not to the extent like it's PvP, more to the extent like it's underrated and not as many people are playing it as they probably should. But that is why you should own Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut in your PS5 collection. Now here's a game that everyone should have in their collection if you've played the original, God of War Ragnarok. This game is such a fantastic follow-up to the God of War from the PS4. Now personally, I prefer the original God of War from the PS4, but this game still provides such a great story and expands upon what God of War built on the PS4. So this game still does that one-shot kind of type dynamic to keep it as cinematic as possible, but then it also goes into, you're not just playing as Kratos, you're playing as Atreus as well, and you're learning more about his story and how he is dealing with the fact of being a god too. I love how they go deeper into Norse mythology, bringing in Thor, bringing in Odin, bringing in all that fucking good stuff, bringing in the Asgard world and all the things that come with it. Now this game also expands upon the many open world segments that the original God of War on the PS4 brought to the table. But also it makes those mini open worlds a little bit bigger, a little bit more dense, and a little bit more fun. This game also brings to the table one of the saddest character revelations in gaming history. Not because it's like, oh, this character died or blah blah blah, such and such, but how far some people are willing to go to hold on to the things that they love and how that can affect other people's lives. It is such a fantastic story, and going back into the God of War world with Kratos and Atreus, it is so much fun that you need to have this game on the PS5. Next on our list, we have another sequel. It is Horizon Forbidden West. Now, Horizon Forbidden West basically takes Horizon Zero Dawn and just turns it up to 11. Bigger world, more things to do, more characters, more robots, and a more diverse world. Essentially, if you liked Horizon Zero Dawn, you're gonna like this game because it's just more of that, more of Horizon. Do they do anything outside the box? No, which is fine. However, the story that they put in, it adds more complexity to the story that they already built. Characters get deeper backstories. You learn more about people's motives, people's intent, and people that you thought were friends all of a sudden are no more. I love how gray they made some of the characters' morals, especially this one character in particular, because they're just doing it because they can. And that character is Silence, and unfortunately the voice actor for Silence passed away recently, so I don't know where they're gonna go for that third game, because his character was such an important part to the story. Now, I touched earlier on how the open world is more diverse and bigger, and having that diversity allows you to bring a more colorful world and a little bit more biodiversity as well. Learning how those new machines played and attacked and learning their movesets made this game a ton of fun to play. So pick up Horizon Forbidden West when you have the chance. A lot of times you see it on sale, but add it to your collection. Now, last but not least, I'm cheating again because it is 2 games, and these are 2 games that any PlayStation owner needs to have in their collection. And those are The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I understand that these games are very polarizing in the fact of, did we need remasters for these for the PS5? And to answer that, I say, why does it matter? Now, you can argue that, did these games need to be remastered because they already looked so great on the PS4? But that's where the extra details that they added to the games comes into play. Like for The Last of Us Part 2, they added the multiplayer experience. Last of Us Part 2 also added director's cuts, some lost levels, which kind of rounded out more of the experience. In my opinion, these two games are video game storytelling at its finest, and Naughty Dog really brought their A game to the table. Now that doesn't mean I think they're perfect. They could always be better in some aspects. Like to me, The Last of Us Part 2, if it would have just changed the way and how it told its story just a tad, and by that I mean just the order in how it told its story, I think that could have elevated the game to a higher standard. But then you look at The Last of Us Part 1, and I think that is one of the greatest games ever made. Now you could argue that it's more of a movie than a game, but I think the gameplay mechanics with the crafting, the survival part of it, but also just the story of it, it brings it to a whole nother level. Now then, The Last of Us Part 2, it takes those best aspects, and especially gameplay wise, adds to it. I don't think you're gonna get a better video game experience than The Last of Us Part 1 or Part 2, in my opinion. So add those to your PS5 collection. So that was our list. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments down below if I missed any games. Or let me know if you think my list was utter crap. But also, if you like what I'm doing here, hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on a video. Hit the like button too if you enjoyed or had a good time during this video. If you didn't have a good time and you think I'm an idiot, hit the dislike button. That lets me know too. But anywho, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.